I wait until after the holiday break to take the machine into school. I have practiced with Mrs. V every single day of Christmas vacation, learning how to push the right buttons, how to switch smoothly from one level to another, how to make contractions. I had to figure out how to say isn't instead of is not, or there's instead of there is. It was quite hard. I kept messing up, but Mrs. V wouldn't let me quit. I didn't want to. So on that first Monday back, Elvira is the star of the day, making me the center of attention. And not because of something embarrassing I did, like throwing up or spilling my food, but for something really cool instead. Unbelievable. Even the teachers seem impressed. "Watch out, world," Miss Shannon announces when she sees me in the hallway. "Melody is ready to rock, y'all." I grin, push a button, and song from the latest teen musical begins to play. "Girl, you really got it going on. Music and everything." Miss Shannon starts sashaying down the hall in rhythm to my music. I crack up. In room H5, Maria is glued to me all morning. "Cool beans, Melly Belly," she keeps repeating. "Cool beans. Can I play?" She wants to touch the glowing lights and shiny buttons, but Miss Shannon steps in and distracts her with a new computer game she's loaded on the classroom machine. When Catherine comes in just before the bell for language arts class, I'm ready for her. She's wearing a green plaid shirt, a blue skirt, and orange knee socks. I planned the first thing I wanted to say to her, so Mrs. V and I had programmed it in ahead of time. I push a button and smile. "Let's go shopping." Catherine gasps, then laughs so hard she almost can't catch her breath. Then she runs over to me, hugs me. "I'm so happy for you, Melody. You really needed this, and yes, we're going to have to find a day so you can teach me some fashion sense." "We need hurry," I type in. I'm in a great mood. "You're a cold-hearted woman," Catherine declares, still laughing. "But for now, let's get you to your inclusion classes and show off this cool new machine." I shiver with excitement. When I roll into Miss Gordon's room, as usual, nobody looks up except for Rose, who flashes me a smile. But then I turn the volume up real loud and I push a button. "Hi, everybody. I have a new computer." Heads turn and voices whisper. "They make computers for the special eddies? It talks? Mine doesn't do that." "You don't need yours to talk." Sounds weird. "So do you." What could she possibly have to say anyway? But Connor jumps up, his shaggy blonde hair flopping into his eyes, and says loudly, "That's awesome, Melody." And because he's one of the popular kids and probably the biggest and tallest kid in the 5th grade, I think because he gives his okay, the rest of the students decide to leave it alone. Well, most of them. Claire, who has first in class to get her own laptop and who makes sure everyone knows it when she gets a new iPhone or Wii game, sniffs and says, "That sure is a funny-looking computer, but I guess it's perfect for a kid like you." She and Molly exchange looks. I swear they think I'm blind. Miss Gordon, who looks like she wants to squeeze Claire like an empty toothpaste tube, tells her, "Claire, I don't allow rudeness in my classroom. Now sit down and hush." But even Claire can't dim my good mood. I push another button for a sentence Miss V and I prepared ahead of time. Somehow I knew I would need it. The machine says, "I talk to everybody now. Claire, too." I see her scowl, but everyone else laughs. They all want to touch the machine or push a button or try to operate it, but Catherine keeps them away and lets me do all the demonstrating. I go to the green level, the jokes. "Knock, knock. Who's there?" Several people reply together. "Isabel," the talker says. "Isabel who?" the kids surrounding me reply. "Isabel, out of order. I had to knock." Everybody laughs at the silly joke with me. Even though my arms and legs flail out, I drool a little as I laugh. It's the first time in my entire life that I feel like I'm part of the group. I wish I could click a save button so I could play this moment over and over and over again. I type in, "Today is Monday. It is cold," then push a blue button on the machine. It whirs a little, then, like a tongue sticking out, a thin sheet of paper erupts from the side of it. Printed on it are the words I just typed. "Whoa," says Rodney, the champion video game player in the class. "It's got a printer. That's too slick." Miss Gordon nods with encouragement as Catherine passes the printout around so everyone can read my words. Then Catherine tells the class, "Melody's MediTalker is a combination computer, music player, and speech device. It's got HD, high-tech guts, and it's designed to rock her world and connect you to it. Take the time to listen to what she has to say." Claire raises her hand. "Yes, Claire," Miss Gordon says, a look of warning in her eyes. I'm not trying to be mean, honest, but it's just never occurred to me that Melody had thoughts in her head. A couple of other kids nod slightly. Miss Gordon doesn't raise her voice. Instead, she responds thoughtfully. You've always been able to say whatever came to your mind, Claire. All of you. But Melody has been forced to be silent. She probably has mountains of stuff to say. Yes, 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 I make the machine say. I give Miss Gordon a smile of thanks. Then I show Rodney and Connor a video game that came with my Medi-Talker. I doubt if I'll ever be fast enough to play Space Soldiers, but it's nice to know it's there. Rodney could probably master it in a hot minute. Miss Gordon checks out the various levels and looks impressed. What a huge vocabulary you have now, Melody, she says to me. I know you feel like a ton of bricks has been lifted from you. I nod. Way cold, the machine says loudly. Oops, I meant to say way cool. I feel my face getting warm as I hear Claire and Molly snicker. But Rose pulls her desk close to my chair. This is so awesome, Melody, she says softly, and I let her touch the shimmery keys. Oh, yes, I replied. Then I look at her. Friends, I type. Friends, she answers without hesitation. Happy, I type, and then I tense. I hope I won't do anything stupid, like knock something over with excitement. Rose is looking intently at me. I can't imagine what it must be like to have all my words stuck inside, she finally says. It sucks, I type in. Rose chuckles. I feel you. As I've been getting used to Elvira over the last month, life at school has been almost pleasant. Almost. I can ask Connor about a TV show that came on the night before or tell Jessica that I like her new shoes. It's been snowing, just flurries, almost every day. Late one January afternoon, I typed, I hope we have a snow day. No school. Everyone agreed. For once, I got to speak to the class. I can answer questions in class lots better with Elvira to help me. For the first time, instead of pretend grades that teachers would give me because they weren't quite sure if I knew the answer or not, I get real grades recorded in the teacher's grade books that are based on actual answers I've given, printed out and everything. But at recess, I still sit alone. It's been too cold to go outside, so we sit in the far corner of the overheated cafeteria till it's time to go back to class. None of the girls gossip with me about some silly thing a boy has said. Nobody promises to call me after school. Nobody asks me to come to a birthday party or a sleepover, not even Rose. Sure, she'll stop and chat for a minute or two, but as soon as Janice or Paula calls her to come and look at a picture on the cell phone, Rose will say, I'll be right back, then skip away as if she's glad she has a reason to cut out on me. I just smile, hope I wasn't drooling and pretend I didn't notice. After a few minutes of faking it, I push the button for the sentence, go back to H5, and Catherine and I roll down the hall. One afternoon, near the end of January, Mr. Dimming announced, in a voice that sounded like he'd been chewing on dry toast, instead of regular class today, I think we'll have practice round for the Whiz Kids quiz team. Everybody cheered because otherwise we would have had a lesson on the Sahara Desert. Talk about toasty and dry. Every year, our school sends a team to the Whiz Kids competition. The local rounds with teams from elementary school all around the city and county are held downtown at a hotel. Last year, our school got to second place in the whole district. The principal was so proud, she bought pizza for the entire school, even though the team was only grades 4 and 5 and 6. The first place teams from across the state go to Washington, D.C. for the Nationals. It's televised and a really big deal. Rose scooted her desk closer to mine. I was on the Whiz Kids team last year, she told me. I know, I typed. You're smart. She beamed, then leaned closer. Connor will probably get picked again, too. He's a little hard to handle, but he's great with trivia. I glanced over. Connor was boasting to his friends about last year's competition. You ought to see the room in the hotel where they hold the contest. Gold chandeliers, rich-looking stuff everywhere, and kids from all over looking smart. But we smoked them all. All but one team, dude, Rodney shouted out good-naturedly. It tore you up, the class hooted. Yeah, but this year we're going to win, right, Miss D? We're certainly going to try, Connor, Mr. Dimming replied. The rules have changed slightly, so our team this year will be made up of just grades 5 and 6. That gives us strength because some of you competed last year. Now, let's see how good we are. Let's do a set of sample questions just for fun, shall we? You got prizes? Rodney asked. Not every competition results in a prize, Rodney, Mr. D replied. Yeah, but it's more fun with good stuff at the end, Connor added. Please? Okay. One slightly squished Butterfinger candy bar from my lunch bag, the teacher said, holding it up. Everyone laughed once more. Chocolate gives you zits, Rose teased Connor. I don't want candy. I want to win. She moved her desk back to her own row. Catherine sat on the other side of me. Do you want to play the practice round with them? She asked. Yes, I typed. Answers A, B, C, D. Easy. She grinned. Okay, easy. Let's see what happens. Mr. Dimming cleared his throat and smiled. Whiz Kids Time is my favorite event of the year, he admitted. Let's see if we can go all the way this year. The class cheered. I will read the questions first, then the choices for the answers. You will write down the correct letter. Does everyone understand? Connor raised his hand, then called out before Mr. Dimming noticed him. Don't give us any easy ones, Mr. D. I got brains of steel. And a mouth to match, I heard Rose whisper. Number 1, the teacher began. Which planet is closest to the sun? A, Venus. B, Earth. C, Mercury. D, Mars. E, Jupiter. Baby questions, Connor protested. Please, Connor, silence, Mr. D said sternly. Connor finally shut up. I pushed the letter C on my machine and waited for the next question. Number 2, Dimming continued. How many sides are on a heptagon? A, 4, B, 6, C, 7, D, 8, E, 9. I typed the letter C again. Would the same letter come up twice in a row? Why not? I knew I was right. Question number 3, Mr. D said. How long is one regular term for a U.S. representative? A, 1 year. 2, B, 2 years. C, 3 years. D, 4 years. E, 6 years. That one could be tricky. It seems like the same politicians are on the news all the time, but I typed in B as my answer. Mr. D gave us 50 questions in all. Several were math problems. Others had to do with science and grammar. The last question was about geography. In what state could you find the Grand Canyon, he asked. A, California. B, Arizona. C, South Dakota. D, New Mexico. Or E, Utah. I'd never been there, but I've seen specials on the Travel Channel, and I'm almost positive it's Arizona. I typed in the letter B, pushed the print button, and Catherine took my paper to the teacher's desk. Melody participated? Mr. Dimming asked as he took the printout. He glanced from the paper in his hand. How nice! I didn't like the sound of his voice. He scored the papers while we watched a movie about pyramids in Egypt. I couldn't help stealing glances at him. Finally, Mr. Dimming looked over his wire-rimmed glasses. I've tallied the results. These are not the official tryouts, but the students with very high scores today are Paula, Claire, Rose, and Connor. Connor jumped from his desk and cheered. I knew it. I'm the man. I'm hot. Let me hold that piece of candy. He started up the aisle toward the desk where the Butterfinger lay. Sit down, Connor, the teacher said with exasperation. You did well, but you didn't get the candy. Who beat me? Connor seemed amazed. Rose? That's okay. I'll triumph in the real tryouts. I looked over at Rose. She smiled at me, a look of anticipation on her face. Mr. Dimming was silent for a moment. He scratched his head. Finally, he cleared his throat and said, the winner of today's competition and the winner of the Butterfinger candy bar with a perfect score is... He paused again, gave his head a little shake, started again. The only person in class who got every single question correct is Melody Brooks. Dead silence. No cheers, just looks of disbelief. No fair, Molly blurted out angrily. Melody's got a helper who whispers the answers to her. She must have cheated, Claire added loudly. Catherine jumped out of her chair and stormed over to where Claire and Molly were sitting, her new black leather boots clicking sharply on the tiled classroom floor. I did not help her. Did it ever occur to you that she might have some smarts of her own? She can't even sit up by herself, Claire replied, her voice petulant. What your body looks like has nothing to do with how well your brain works. You ought to know that by looking in the mirror. Ooh, she got you, Connor said. That's a couple of laughs. Got a couple of laughs. But most of the kids were looking around uneasily. No one looked at me. Claire said nothing in reply, and I guess Molly decided to shut up as well. Catherine returned to where I sat, but the whole thing made me want to crawl under a table and disappear. Mr. Dimming raised his hands for the class to be silent. Melody, please come up and get your candy bar, he said. I'm very proud of you and your efforts today, and your classmates are as well. Let's all give Melody a round of applause. Everybody except maybe Molly and Claire clapped as I rolled slowly to the front of the room. The sound of my chair's motor whirred softly. They couldn't hear the sound of my thumping heart. I figured the teacher offered me the candy to shut up Claire and Molly and to make me feel good that I accidentally got all the questions right. But it was no accident. I knew them all, every single one. Mr. Dimming placed the candy bar on my tray. Good. At least I wouldn't have to worry about dropping it in front of everybody. I rolled back to my place with my head down. I'm so proud of you, and you should be too, Catherine whispered, holding her hand up for me to slap. But I didn't move. Not, I typed. Why not? You beat them all. It took me a very long time, but I typed. They think my brain is messed up like the rest of me. I felt like crying. Then we'll just have to study and show them they're wrong, Catherine said, a hint of defiance edging her voice. Why? I asked. So you can be on the quiz team, she told me. Never happened, I tapped. Just as Catherine was about to reply, Mr. Dimming announced that the official tryouts for the quiz team would be held in 1 week. Many of you scored quite well on this practice round, he said. But remember, you will have to compete against the 6th grade students as well for the real competition. Go home and study. Only the best will be chosen. Like me, Connor yelled. If you qualify, Mr. Dimming told him, I'm taking a winning team to Washington, D.C. this year, class. Are you with me? Yeah, they all yelled. I was amazed they'd get excited about studying for anything, but he rallied them like a football coach. Are you willing to study so we can be on television? Oh, yeah. You going to buy a new suit if we win? Connor blurted out. Mr. Dimming actually laughed. That's a promise, a new suit, maybe blue with a red satin vest. The whole class broke out in laughter and applause. Then let's do our very best, Mr. D said. I'm going to create an extra challenging question so that we will be stupendously prepared this year. Well, he's already starting with the big vocabulary words, I heard Molly whisper to Claire. Hard questions? Connor whined. Look at it this way, Mr. Dimming told Connor. If Melody Brooks can win the first round, then my questions must not be difficult enough. We're all going to rally to win the competition. Everyone cheered, except me.